I'm gonna be honest, my idea for this video has changed a lot. Originally, my goal was to improve. I kind of felt like I hadn't moved forward much for the last few months. I felt like I needed to be productive. I'd not really done much in terms of putting myself out there with friends. I hadn't got out loads. I'd not done loads of work. I kind of realized, as with many people my age, I'd spent way too much time just doom scrolling on my phone. I'd kind of ended up just existing in or on top of my bed. Don't get me wrong, I had a pretty good January, all things considered. I had my birthday, I had lots of time with family, I had friends coming from all over the world to visit, but it was a bit of a strange end to 2024, and if you know what it's like having friends from online, you know that the time you spend with them is kind of overshadowed by the knowledge that in just a couple of days they're flying back home, and you might not see them for months, if not years. Lucky for me, I do have TwitchCon in like a month or two, so I'm kind of winning. I'm kind of winning with this one. Kinda. So around the end of January, I realized that I was moving back to uni at the beginning of Feb, so it was a perfect opportunity to have a completely fresh slate. I know typically you have the new year as a fresh start, but January's a write-off for me. It's my birthday month, so it doesn't count, okay? That meant more working out, more time with my friends, more productivity, and a lot less naps, unfortunately. It was my chance to really do better and get back on track. With so much value being held in how productive we are these days, it can kind of feel like your personhood is tied to what you produce and put out in the world. And I hadn't really been doing that recently. So, two birds, one stone, I figured why not be more productive and document this to show the world. So I started carrying around this old camcorder that my parents used to use. If this was good enough to record my childhood, surely it was good enough to take care of this project for me. Also the vibe, it's just got cool vibes, okay? Look how, it's cool looking, it's cool. So, got to halfway through the month. I'd been to the gym twice. I had some ideas for my university work, and I'd streamed a couple times, so kind of doing it. Granted, it had only been 2 weeks, but this is when I remembered that February is a comically short month, so I only had 2 more ahead of me. So this meant it was really time to knuckle down and get some stuff done. I think at this point, something in my mind switched. The added pressure of a slow first half of this month had sort of turned this goal that I'd set myself into a requirement. I looked back to the beginning of the month and saw that I'd barely made any progress. This demand that I now had for myself felt like an impossible task. But also, it wasn't okay anymore for me to just do my best. I had to succeed. This mindset shift kind of tipped me over the edge. Week 3, safe to say I crashed out a bit. I think this pressure I was giving myself sort of compounded with some stuff that I'd just been ignoring since the new year, and it all got a little much. So I did the most productive thing I could think of, locked myself in my room for 5 days and just sleep. Now you may be wondering, but Duck, surely if you want to be productive, you've got to be awake to produce something, right? And that, dear viewer, is where you're sorely mistaken. For you see, the best way to deal with a slow couple of weeks, just hide in your room, don't talk to anybody, it's great. Highly recommend it. It can kind of feel like you're not a person in times like these. Your head is just a brick, and it takes everything in your power just to get up and move. And honestly, I think sometimes the best thing to do in those situations is just take some time for yourself, just recover. Granted, I kind of overdid it. You need to eat and look after yourself, and that's kind of where I let myself down here. Now, don't get me wrong, I have an amazing support network. And at this point, I could have so easily reached out to anybody and asked for a hand. But you know, if you've ever been in a pit like that, you'd much rather spend a week clawing your own way out than ask someone for help because you're worried that they might see you at the bottom and not like who they're seeing. And I'm so very aware, I'm incredibly lucky. These are zeroth world problems. Unfortunately, my neurochemistry sometimes tells me that I need to lay in bed for a week minimum. And so that's where I end up. It's really fun, I promise. I promise. So we're now at week 4, and I'm just about ready to start being a person again. I can't really say I turned my life around like I planned for this video, but I got out of bed and I washed my hair, which at the time felt like an insurmountable task. I was back to some semblance of routine, of being. I've put more of a focus on keeping myself going, and that's kind of what I've been doing since. Now, you could look at that month and say that I achieved nothing, and yeah, you'd probably be right. All I really managed to do was stay afloat, but life can feel like it's trying to drown you sometimes. And so just treading water is honestly not a complete failure. In fact, these rough periods can actually help us learn a lot about ourselves and what we can push ourselves through. I've seen a lot of themes in media and conversation recently about super well-being, about always being ecstatic and making you perceive the world as constantly positive. But I think it's pretty clear that we live in an imperfect world. And so if you start perceiving things as just perfect, are you really seeing what's going on? I think we need these negative experiences sometimes for personal growth, to sort of push ourselves and see what we're capable of. And yes, I know for a lot of people, constant progress is achievable. They don't have to work quite as hard to just fight the current. It's pretty easy to get caught up in the fairness of how different people's minds work, but is that really going to help you progress? On one hand, if someone offered me a pill and told me that I would always be happy from that point onwards, I can't say I wouldn't be tempted. But at the same time, if you don't ever have to claw your way out of that pit, how do you know if you can? Thank you very much for watching. This isn't my usual style of video. I've not done a video before, but I hope it was a decent watch. I hope it was relatable in some way, and if it is, I'm sorry, you must be very mentally ill. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, it would be amazing if you could leave a like, maybe subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future. If not, leave constructive criticism in the comments and I will cry as I read through it.